We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred.
With Maxwell Silverhammer.
We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred. Happy birthday
Oh,
to
boy.
you.
Happy
birthday to
me.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
Cruise
Cruise
Control.
Control.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, motherfuckers.
Fuck, man.
Hello, everybody. This is the Nothing Sacred Show for May 10th, 2023. I am Cruise Control.
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
But it is my birthday, and it's a really strange birthday. So this show goes out to Jared Dog.
Oh man, fuck, dude, yeah.
Who
R.I.P., man.
my stepdad passed away yesterday, so it's been a very interesting last couple of weeks. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to go too much into detail. Maybe we'll talk a little about some stuff going on, but yeah. So this is the Nothing Sacred Show, our May edition, AIDS Attrition.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that actually rhymed too. You know,
Yeah.
I do want to just say though, man, it's got to be a little bit strange. You know, you said he passed yesterday, the day before your birthday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I guess in a way there is, you know, a little bit, it's like, well, fuck, okay, you don't have to worry now, like what's going to happen and all that. So, you know, do you feel maybe might be a new beginning or what you don't really know where you're going with this?
I don't even know where I'm going with this at this point. I'm still trying to evaluate. There's so much other shit going on. Over the last couple months, my stepdad has had some serious issues, and he's been in the hospital basically. So it's just been a very interesting experience, like a learning experience for myself and about what about me and about weaknesses that I have, honestly. And I talked about this on the shrink wrap a lot, or on the drunken sacred drink wrap with Louie and Koala.
Yeah.
Where it's just worry and what ifs and what are you going to do? How do you deal with certain things? You know, how certain people deal. And I am a fucking I am the type who I will worry about shit. And I've learned I do a lot of catastrophizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is basically I worry about shit, like, and I worry about the worst possible scenario. You know, like what if this happens? What if something happens to my mom while Jerry is still in the hospital? What if happens to, you know, my brothers and blah 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 blah. You know, so in a way it's interesting how that works, like how people like deal with that kind of, because you don't do that kind of shit. You don't really, like, if you can't control stuff, well, you worry, but like,
I do, man. You know what, maybe I keep it inside more.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah,
I'll
definitely
be honest,
more of
yeah, for me it's like I figure I won't show it, because if I do, you know, then you got other people worrying for you and other crazy shit. And man, I'll be honest, I think because we're in such an uncertain, fucked up time,
yeah,
you know, that you just don't know, you know, it's like things are different. It's not like it was, you know, and part of it's our age, obviously.
Yeah.
But like we said, the time too, what's going on, you know, just kind of the whole environment. And you know, I've had a situation which we'll get into in a second, which I was worrying hardcore. You know, I may not have shown it. You know, you were out here last weekend.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know how I came across, but I definitely, in my mind, I'm going, oh my God, fucking no.
Yeah, and I think it manifests in different ways. Like I said, like certain people want to show it or try to show it, or other people, like me, I like talk about, oh God, what's gonna happen if this can happen, blah, blah, blah. And I think about, like I said, I have an imagination that's strong, but I also have this like cause and effect part of my mind as Admiral Analyzor, where I think of, well, if this happens and this could happen, and if that could happen, then this will happen. And then I go down this fucking rabbit hole of bullshit, and then it just like, it's like overwhelms me. It's like, again, like horse, as my ex used to say, they let the horses out of the barn, you know, where she's like, oh God, this could happen and that could happen, and oh God, and what if this is the, you know, what, you know, this is the, you know, what if this you still with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah. So it spirals out of control, basically.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. It spirals out of control, and then you know, and it just sits there, you know, and so I'm like, you know, and I can't keep my mind off it, and then I start obsessing over it. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, and then things kind of clear up, and I'm like, okay, you know, this is gonna, and then something else comes up that's like, fuck, why does this have to come up? Why couldn't it just be that and not something else that comes up? Like, oh shit, now this person's in this situation. Hopefully they're gonna be okay. But then I worry about like, you know, like what if this, you know, what if that happens? And it's like, dude, you're just you're tripping off the worst possible fucking thing that can fucking happen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know,
And that's well, you know, and funny enough, you said to me years ago something about, you know, if shit's gonna happen, it's just gonna happen, and you can't fight it, and it's just gonna be what it is. And I was like, huh, that's interesting, because that's kind of when I was going through some shit, you know, back then.
no, really,
And
I actually said that because I don't
that was
believe it.
that was, I'll tell you exactly what was going on. It was right before you moved to Eugene, and we were at the pool, and I was having you know, one of my like, oh dude, I don't know, man, and you were like, you know, man, shit's just gonna happen, dude, and you can't fight it. What are you gonna do? You know, it's just the path you're on, and it's gonna happen, and you can't turn it off, you know. So you were telling me this shit back then. So
That's interesting.
yeah,
because I think that's one of the fucking annoying things about this kind of worry is that everybody else says that, well, shit's just gonna happen, and you're like, ah. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone says, well, you can't do anything about it. You can't control it.
It's not reassuring, you know. It's kind of like, ah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's not reassuring. It's like, yeah, so what does that, how does that help me? You know, what does that fucking help me do?
Right, exactly.
To deal with this shit that's going on. Like, how can I, you know, and like, because I was thinking because at first my stepdad was supposed to go into hospice, you know.
And that's
so
a bad thing to begin with, you know.
Yeah, well, obviously, but he was going to go home in hospice.
Right.
And that would have been a fucking bad idea for me. I was like, oh man, he shouldn't be at that house. You know, there's too much stuff going on there. And just also just the place is not very, you know, and I don't know how they deal with that, you know, and then that didn't happen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, and so, but the, you know, cause the best part to me, that this is going to sound fucked up, but he was not doing well. He was very weak. He couldn't walk, couldn't support himself. He was sitting in a bed all day alone in a hospital, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he was basically suffering. He wasn't in pain because of his, you know, it was more of a oxygen issue.
Right. Well, that's hard. You know, when you're you're deprived of oxygen.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was part of the, you know, like, and so that was a concern, you know. But it's also a kind of a weight off my shoulders, you know, in a way, because I know that my mom doesn't have to deal with seeing that every day, because she works down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, and then and every single day was, how's he doing? Is he better? Is he worse? Was he better? Is he worse? It was a roller coaster up and down every day.
Yeah. There was back and forth. Oh, he's doing better. You know, I know even when you were out here, you know, you would tell me, oh, he's doing a little better now. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, now he's kind of slipped back, you know. Yeah,
fuck it. I'll go through a little bit of the scenario. Because the first thing that happened was a couple weeks ago, they thought they were going to just let him go. And that's the call I got. That's why I moved my trip up from Monday to Friday. I moved it so I wanted to get up there earlier. And then the next day they're like, "Oh, he's better." And I'm like, and then during the trip it happened once or twice more where he was really bad, and then he got better, and really bad, and then got better. So it was just like this. Like I've kind of been like expecting this, and kind of just like God, please just let everybody not suffer.
Right. You know? Yeah. This kind of up and down, back and forth.
And so now it's like now I'm in that stage of grief where I still think I'm numb, but at least that there's this weight, like I said, this weight up my shoulder. But then I've got other issues going on with some other family members, and it's like now I'm thinking the worst fucking scenario. Oh, what if he doesn't wake up tomorrow morning? What if he has an issue with some detox, you know, and this, and he has an issue there, he has to go to the hospital, and my mom has to take, you know, or he has to get to call the amp, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just you know, it's just, and then, but it's always the worst possible fucking scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think we all do that. Like I said, the one positive thing I found is when I think about shit like that and it doesn't happen, then you're just like, oh, you know, so it feels good.
Yeah. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for them, because I feel like if I get through tonight and deal with this other issue that's going on, and I wake up tomorrow and everybody's okay, everything's okay, then I'll be like, all right, now he's gotten through the first, because some other family member is doing some shit. Now he's gotten through the other day, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The other period of
yeah.
I don't want to go into more detail, but you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully it's a learning experience, because he you know, it's a wake up call. I don't know if it's going to be, at this point, but you never know. Maybe certain different things cause wake up calls for different people to get their shit together.
It's possible. Yeah,
and that's the same thing with me. Like, for instance, dude, fuck it, I'm going to go into this a little bit further. When I was out there, you remember when I was at your place, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, you remember I was hanging out there, and I didn't sleep. I would sleep and I didn't sleep for shit.
Right. Yeah. You had 2 nights of little to no sleep.
I didn't sleep for shit the whole time I was there after that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So even after you left my house and went back to your mom's.
Yeah, I barely got sleep those nights. I barely got sleep when I got back here. I hung out with Shane and Jill, my buddies, my friends, and on Friday night for my birthday, they kind of picked me up early and hung out there, and I kind of had some beers and stuff like that. And I didn't drink any time after I had a little bit of wine on Monday because it was a rough day. We went to the hospital and it was just a rough day.
Okay.
But I didn't drink after that until Friday. And
when you got home finally.
Yeah, I got home on Thursday, and then that night I didn't sleep worth a shit. So I'm laying in bed going, "Oh, I'm going to hang out with them, and they're not gonna, I'm going to be all exhausted and stuff." Although it worked out really well. But the next day on Saturday, I felt like shit, and since then I haven't had a beer or even a puff of weed or anything since then.
Oh, really? So not even. Wow. Okay.
It's not that long, but I'm kind of a pretty.
Well, it's Wednesday. That's what 4 days.
I'm kind of a regular smoker. Like, smoking is kind of a thing. Like, I've always liked to smoke, and I just haven't had the urge to, because I've been like, because you know how it is when you're all anxious, you don't want to.
Yeah, you're like, oh, dude, let me get something to calm me down.
But you don't want to take, because weed will make you more anxious. Like, so I just haven't done anything, and I kind of crossed a little bubble. Like, I got pretty good sleep last night. I was like, I felt really, good, about the sleep, and I think the reason was because I had some closure with Jerry and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just interesting. My whole idea of that has changed. I think I'm pretty much done with that kind of shit. A lot of it, for a while.
And that's cool, man. Especially if it was something that you were doing a lot,
So I'm kind of opening up here today on my birthday. It's just the weirdest fucking birthday I've ever had. I probably.
Maybe it's necessary. It's kind of like when I broke up with my ex back in the day, and our mutual friend, the Turtle, said, you don't know it now, but you got yourself the best Christmas gift ever, when her and I broke up. And so maybe what's going on here, man, unfortunately, sometimes you got to lose shit to gain shit. I always say that, man. So, sometimes you might have had to, take a loss, but yet now this is actually going to help you, open up and become, and people say this shit. There was somebody on Facebook, I won't say who made a comment about it. This is my new self. I'm starting my new, and it's like, oh, that's bullshit. You really got to go through something real before you go, okay, wait a minute now. This is, I'm going to change for real.
And I hope, and that's the same thing with, like, I think that's like the catalyst for other people in my life too. That are dealing with certain things and stuff.
Yeah.
Dealing with certain addictions and just problems that they have, and and just like self issues. So,
well, and it's up to them, man, to do that, to fix that. So, and but
it is up to them, but God damn it. And that's like, some people can tend to detach like that. They can compartmentalize and go, well, it's not my deal.
Right. Right.
And I'm one of the types, if I care about someone, I worry about them, and I know I can't control it, and that's probably the reason why I worry more. It's a control issue. It's some kind of control fucking issue that I have, where I'm just like, fuck, I can't do anything about it. Like I said,
I get it, but I learned that lesson a few months ago with somebody that I was really into, and when they pretty much were like, but basically didn't want to hear it and didn't want any part of it. I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck, there's nothing you can do, and I think that's kind of what changed me a little bit when it came to that.
Yeah. And so you were talking about worrying about, because you have why don't we go into your stuff here?
All right.
Basically just, I'm just saying that, like, I don't know, I feel like this is like something that's changed in me over the last couple of weeks, especially going back there to Vegas, because it was very rough.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes, but I just hope that I can master this worry of things that I can't deal with, and the what ifs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the next hurdle. Sometimes we gotta, face some demons, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, my thing was a few weeks ago, well, almost a month ago now, I was at Leopard's house and I was fucking hammered, and her husband was going to drive me home. So I'm walking out. They have like this like brick planter type thing. If you walk straight out their front door, and you're supposed to make a right and go down, there's like one little step into the driveway. Well, I went too far. I tripped over this fucking brick wall or brick planter or whatever, and I fucked up my left leg real bad. I mean, it was bleeding. And so her husband came out with a rag, and we're trying to stop the bleeding. And then he had a Band-Aid. So we put a Band-Aid on it and everything. So I go home. Next day, I wake up, I pull the Band-Aid off so I can shower. And because I'm thinking at this point, oh, it's just like getting a skin knee, you know, like when you're a kid. And but it's hurting like hell. And I'm going, okay, this feels kind of shitty, but oh well, let's see what's happening. And about a week goes by, and my coworker sees it one day, and she goes, that does not look good. That looks really infected. I think you need to let somebody look at that. And I said, okay, fine. You know, I'll go have it checked out. I'll go to the Southwest Medical by my house, you know? And so I go, and this guy was, you know, he seemed like he knew what he was talking about. They did a bunch of tests where they wanted to make sure that it wasn't, you know, my white cells weren't elevated. So they did some blood work, you know, to make sure it wasn't some kind of infection. So white cells were good. David did an x-ray because of where it is. It's right there on my shin. So they wanted to make sure that it didn't work its way into the bone or something. So they found that was all good. So what he did is he put me on some antibiotics and then told me to keep it wrapped up, you know, with an ACE bandage, and which was hard for me to do. You know what I'm saying? I as a blind dude, it's hard to wrap some shit up with it, you know, because there's a special art to it, man. And, you know, you got to do this and twist it and turn it. And, you know, it's got to be done a certain way. And I wasn't mastering it. You know, it's like certain stuff, which, okay, I'm going to keep it real here, y'all. Here, talk about keeping it real. I never learned how to tie shoes. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I never did that.
So, yeah, well, why do you think most of the shoes I wear are all slip-ons?
Yeah, or Velcro, right?
Velcro, yeah, Velcro. I've had some Velcro in the past, but mostly now slip-ons, like loafers.
Now it's like, Velcro is like,
yeah, and even my running, right? Well, even my running shoes, you know, like I would use on the treadmill, those are slip-ons too. So anything like that, like tying shit, I just never. People have tried to show me, and I just couldn't learn it, man. It was just something I had trouble picking up, and I could never do it. And so, you know, or I used to, back in the day, I would get shoes and I'd have them lace them in the store, just enough for me to be able to slip them on and off. But yeah, no, I've never been able to tie shoes. So this whole ACE bandage thing was a big pain in the ass for me. And I was like, okay, this sucks. So anyway, they told me to come in, you know, about 5 days from then to have them look at it, make sure everything was fine. So I get to work and I got the stupid ACE bandage on, and my coworker's like, she goes, your leg looks like shit. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the way you got that ACE bandage on. So I take it off. I said, well, maybe you can help me. And she goes, oh my God, it looks even worse now, you know, the injury itself. So I'm like, okay. So I said, well, I'm going to go today to Southwest Medical, have them check it. So I go there and I get a totally different doctor, you know, not the same guy who saw me.
Which is scary.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, this guy doesn't know me from shit except for some charts or whatever. And he's looking at it and he says, you know, he goes, it needs to heal. That's all. He's like, just keep taking those antibiotics. You know, I don't see any reason why you have to cover it, you know. And he said something to me at one point that you pointed out, because he made some comment about, oh, your chart said that you had weeping wounds on your ankles and feet. And I'm like, what? I was like, no, that didn't happen. And he's like, oh, okay. So you were saying, I wonder if they got the wrong chart, you know,
or something, yeah.
Something fucked up, or somebody put the wrong information on mine, or I don't know what the shit went down there. So anyway, you were out and you came over. That was that Friday after I got checked out. And remember, I was telling you, oh yeah, they said just, you know, let it heal. It's gonna do its thing in due time, and fucking don't worry about it, you know. And so then we went to lunch with my mom. Remember, later.
Oh yeah,
Sunday. And both my mom and my brother saw it, and they were like, whoa, that doesn't look good. That looks infected. My brother even took a picture of it, and he's like, I got to send this to our dad to look at this.
What pissed you off royally?
Yeah, it actually did, because I was going, God damn it. Look, I'll just bring it up to him. I don't need you to intervene, you know, which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short. So as of last week, I started going to the wound care center, and even the day before, I was a little bit worried, and I'm like, oh shit, what if they admit me into the hospital or something crazy? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, now I got to stay in a hospital and be on intravenous antibiotics. And so I was thinking the absolute fucking worst scenario, happening. And I'm not just like, this is not a good week for this. We've got outreach stuff to do, for work. And so I'm like, oh, God damn it. Well, I went in there. They did a culture of it. It's not infected. It's a hematoma is what it is. So it's like a lot of blood basically in the wound. So they drained a bunch of it the first time I was in there, and then they've wrapped it up. So I've had to keep it wrapped up. And what I do is I go there and have them change it. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I got to go have them go in so they can change the dressing. And while they do that, of course, they look at the wound. They did say it's healing. It looks a lot better than it did. They did drain some more blood out of it Monday, because I guess there was some more that need to be drained. But it wasn't as painful as it was the first dude that last Wednesday. Like, it was really hard to walk, man, because they really fucking did some shit, and I was just like, oh God, just trying to walk was tough. But I it's gotten better, and like I said, I've just kept it wrapped up. I can't shower or do anything like that. I got to take bird baths, because I can't get this dressing wet. And yeah, man, I'm hoping, that because they do say it looks better, and every time I go in there, they keep saying, oh yeah, it's looking better, it's looking good. We still want to keep it wrapped up. So Monday, I guess, is the big day where I go see the doctor, the actual doctor who's going to check it out and say, well, this is what we got to do or whatever. Hopefully I don't have to keep this wrapped up for too much longer, and then we're just going to put like a gauze thing over it or something, But
it's crazy how 3 weeks ago this happened, basically.
Yeah, I know. And this doesn't happen to me, man. You know me, if I get injured, I'm okay. Yeah, I get some.
Yeah, well, but it also happened because you were hammered, which is kind of a funny. It seems like shit happens like that, and just, oh well, it's just something to think about, man. And I know I'm going in down that road, but that's kind of where I'm at right now, where it just doesn't. It's just kind of like leads to a lot of bullshit sometimes, man.
Yeah, well, and you're right. It's kind of a wake up call. Even when you were out here, I wasn't drinking as much. You know what I'm saying?
Except that last night. The
last night, I got pretty.
And I think the reason why is because I think what you were talking about earlier is that you were fucking kind of tripping out. And that's what you mentioned, right? You were like, oh.
Yeah. I'll be honest, man. I was kind of like, oh God, I don't know what's gonna happen. Where am I gonna? I might as well have fun now, because who knows where the fuck I'm gonna be. Are they gonna put me in a hospital and then I got to be there for a couple days? Because I definitely did not want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously. No.
So that was kind of a tough.
And that's kind of where I was at too tonight. Like, I was like, oh, dude, I want to get some fucking beer, dude. Just fuck it. I'm gonna grab some fucking beer and some smoking and just kind of like just get through the night. And I'm like, dude, you'll just feel like shit tomorrow, dude. You'll just feel like shit tomorrow, and it'll bring you back to where you were, where you're worried about shit, like, oh, you're sleeping and stuff like that. So I'm like, nope. So I'm chilling tonight, and I'll just got to gut through it, man. Sometimes you got to gut through it. Obviously, that night you didn't, which is fine. Obviously, you were fine.
Well, you know what though? I was still coherent though. I wasn't.
Yeah, no, you weren't.
And even when I went to the runner. Let's see what I went Friday and Saturday, and both nights I still, I got to the point where I was like, okay, time to go home. You know what I mean? And just was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, none of that fucking blackout, fucking trip over shit stuff.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh God, I'm fucking hammered, and no,
no,
it was actually
you wake up going, oh, I got home. That's good,
Yeah, and you remember how you got home.
Yeah, it's something that you gotta. That's I just noticed. In my even now, I know that if I had been, like I said, if I drank Friday night and Saturday morning, I was a fucking ball of nerve, just like,
it just didn't feel good, huh? You were like,
no,
oh fuck, man,
no,
yeah.
And now I'm still a ball of nerves, but at least I'm like, okay, I'm a ball of nerves, and it's just me. I'll fucking deal with this shit.
But you don't even have the urge to drink. That's the thing. You're kind of like,
well, I had an urge to drink earlier. But it was an urge to drink to just like kind of calm myself down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and obviously with everything going on, but it wasn't. But the urge wasn't like, oh, I want to feel, because I know how. Because I think the thing with me now is that I know how I feel the next day. And even if I drink a little bit, it just doesn't make me feel. It just fucks things up. So But
Yes.
it's the worry, man. It's like it's not, but it's also the society that's everywhere. You know, like this whole world is fucking crazy right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking every single day it seems like there's a new fucking shooting. You know, it's just everything's fucking. I think everything's just bearing down on everybody. But I'm trying to get past it. And I think I've kind of done that. I think you know, maybe you're have you thought about? And I know we talked about this before, but you know, have you thought about cutting down on the dippies?
Yeah, well, that's a big thing I have because you know, obviously, you know, you think like, well, maybe part of this is because of bad circulation, you know, and so I've kind of, and this time I'm I'm thinking like, well, Monday if I go in there and they say, oh well, we got to keep this shit wrapped up for a little longer, you know, and then I think that's where I'm gonna say, okay, all right, enough is enough here. It's time to get serious and start using the fake chew that I have. You know what I mean?
Or something, man, something cutting down or doing something. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but
yeah.
But this is the way it is when we get older too, man. We start realizing we can't do the shit we did before.
Yeah.
And that a lot of times you're hiding from stuff, or it's a coping mechanism for something. Or it's just a habit, you know, that's just like, oh, I need it now. And then you feel like you need it every day. Like if you didn't have it, then you would be like,
and that's a fear too. Honestly, I kind of think about that. I'm like, oh God, you know, like quitting chewing. Oh, how would I do it? I mean, how's it gonna be? You know, so I'm a little nervous about that, you know, and so that's another one. So we'll have to see where the hell that ends up. And that's the problem too. I hate uncertainty. You know me, man. I'm a routine ranger. I like knowing what's happening, what's going to happen, where I'm going to go, you know.
Well, that's where I'm at too. So I understand that completely.
Yeah, that uncertainty shit is horrible. Some people don't mind it. They actually love it. But for me, I'm, you know, I like things to be, I like to know exactly what's going to happen, you know, what to be expected. And, you know, I don't like this whole, you know, oh God, well, if I go in there and this is going to happen and then they're going to tell me this. And so, you know, you don't fucking know, you know, where you're going to end up.
No, so you don't fucking know. You just gotta fucking deal. You don't know what's gonna happen. You can't control anything, so just let it happen. It's like fuck.
Yeah, you know, that's the bitch, you know, because well, we want to be able to control our own shit. You know, it's just what it is. Like to be able to say, well, I did this, you know, like we said, well, okay, because I drank, I tripped over that fucking stupid wall, and I was a dumb shit. So I can say directly, I did that to myself. You know what I'm saying? But other shit, it's like, man, well, I don't know. What, you know, so yeah, dude, I just got a deal and see what happens to me, man.
See what happens.
And same with you, I guess, huh?
That's the whole thing, man. It's
you know,
life lessons, man.
Well, you know, and another thing, kind of switching gears a little bit, what you were talking about society and where things are going, man. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like a lot of people are very comfortable asking for money now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a little too comfortable. Like, you know, I'm always, God, I don't know, man. If I was in a situation where I had to ask for people to borrow money or whatever, I think, dude, I would kind of lock up. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I could do it. I'd be a dead homeless person, you know? But I've had some people in the last week or so. And one of them was actually somebody we interviewed at one point, hit me up on Facebook just randomly, dude. Like, and I'm not going to say who it was, you know, whatever. Just, I'm not trying to put them on blast, but they asked me for, you know, could they borrow some money and blah, 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 and they could pay it back to me. And dude, and honestly, I just did not respond. I was like, no, we're not going there. We're just not.
That's even weirder. It's not like it's obviously friends. Sometimes you know, depending on the type of friend they are, you know, they might want to ask you for money. They might feel comfortable because they've known each other for a while, and you know that you know, and maybe they've been good for it in the past. Like they've always gotten you back, so you're like, oh, it's no big deal. But someone that you don't even really know,
that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you muster up the balls to do that?
Because people do it all the time now. They give money to people on Facebook. They have these things called, you know, super chats. You know,
I've seen that on YouTube. Yeah.
What they do is super chats are basically when someone pays money to ask a question to the people on, or they just give money to them, like, hey, $100, and they're giving like shit tons of money, $100 to this YouTuber who fucking follows wrestling or something like that. It's like, God damn, these people just give away money.
That's a crazy thing. I will see that. Like if they really love I mean, I don't, maybe it's the like the love with celebrities, you know, like they see this YouTuber as a
Yeah.
celebrity or something. So they're like, oh shit, yeah, man. You know, I'm gonna give to that person. It's like,
I
you
think a
know,
lot of that also has to do with the fact that we don't use actual money anymore. Like
mm,
everything's digital, so it's all through Zelle and fucking all through
PayPal and
all those
Cash
fucking
App and
things. Yeah, and fucking Venmo and all those things. So it's like, oh, just let me loan some money, you know, and then it's all digital, so it's not there's no real feel of money. Like when we're
right. It's not like
younger, when we grew up, it was like, dude, I can count my money in my hand, you know.
right. Like you
And
open your wallet. Okay, I'll give you $40, and you're like, damn,
yeah,
$40 out
yeah,
in
and
my
it's like you
wallet.
can tell, like its 220s are gone, and you can tell the exact actual physical amount. Well, now it's just like, oh, it's just like a number off a screen, you know.
Interesting.
And
That
that's
might
part of it
be.
too. I think that's part of it too, but also just people are just more open to do that. Just like they're more open to admit, like, oh, that I have these mental illnesses and I've got this and I've got that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I think it's the part of it too, man. I think it's kind of the Joe Bidenotic mentality. You know, I don't have it, you do, give me, you know, that kind of thing. The share the wealth attitude.
yeah, yeah,
you know.
definitely.
So it's like that's why I think people have this. They really don't. Well, their guilt or their conscience or whatever says, well, they got more money than you do, so why not ask them for it? You know. And yeah, I did have somebody who's a good friend of mine, and I have no doubt they would have paid me back. But I'm kind of, dude, I don't like to lend money. I don't like to be the bully guy. I don't want to be the, hey man, you got my money. Hey, you got my money, man. Where's my money? You remember you owe me. You know, I don't want to do that, man. Especially with a friend.
Exactly, because it's something in your mind that's there. It's in between the friendship because you're like, we hadn't paid, or they didn't pay me back at this point, or they said they'd pay me back and I've only got part of it, or when are they gonna get me back? Just something there that you don't need to be there. You know?
Yeah. I don't like the feeling at all. And you know, and I made the mistake of letting somebody, and the person is paying it back. This other person that had asked me a few months ago.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, why did I even fucking do that? You know what I'm saying?
And,
so
and that and plus people, that's probably people think you're the kind of guy that'll do that. That's why that almost stranger asked you. So yeah, that's definitely part of it too, man. It's and like I said, no one has any pride anymore in that kind of thing either. Like, I don't want to borrow money from somebody. I can handle this myself. It's like, oh dude, I can borrow because I've got a poor me story or whatever. Because remember, victim mentality is a big thing now too.
And that's true too. That's what I was saying. Yeah, the whole victim thing, like, oh, everybody knew. And then, well, here's another thing you pointed out. I don't know if you remember doing this, dude. This is back when we were roommates. And because remember, I had a lot of people for a while kind of doing the same thing. And you said, man, I think it may have something to do with your blindness, because their way of thinking is, come on, man, you've been downtrodden, whatever. Yeah, you know what it's like, man. Come on, dude, help me out. You've been there, kind of thing. Like they see you as a fellow victim, I guess, as it were. Because
yeah, and like they'll know, understand. Also, maybe a little gullibility too. Like, hey, man, you're blind. Maybe you'll just like, you think I'm cool. You like my stuff, so loan me some money. Yeah, dude, come on, man. I'm a cool dude, man. I'll get you places, man. Just I need a little help right now.
Yeah, I'll get it back to you. Well, I think the one person the friend that asked for money this week, and I told them no. I said I had some unexpected expenses and other stuff. They kind of got a little attitude with me, and they said, that's okay. It just makes me realize, I do for people and they won't give it back or something like that. And I'm just like,
now wait a second. And this person have you helped them out before?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've helped them before.
Well, then that's ridiculous. That's the kind of shit, that kind of guilt shit is bullshit. It's like, well, if you had never actually helped them before.
No. And I've done things for them, or we've gone, like, okay, I'll get the meal this time and you get it next time, and we've got a rapport like that. And as a matter of fact, there was something about a month ago, and I was going to their house and they bought the beer, and I said, okay, you let me know how much it is and I'll sell it back to you. Well, then they didn't, and I said, oh shit, the next time we're at the store, I forgot to Zelle the money to them. And I said, oh man, I still owe you. You know what? I was like, let me know how much I owe, and they were like, no, it's okay. It's fine. And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, no, it's cool. And I'm like, okay, so, I caught myself. I could have just been like, oh, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm not into pimping my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting. Money just gets people annoyed. You know, it gets people. It just for whatever reason, because we place so much fucking
Value on it.
important value on it, which I don't. I kind of try to not to as much anymore, but we still do. That it just gets in the way of things because it's a means of. It's like you're not gonna take advantage of me and that kind of thing. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is necessary. We can't lie and say, "Oh, I don't need it." But
No,
obviously, it is necessary for us to function.
yeah, obviously, but that's just the way our society's built. Like, if there was some other way we could do, like it used to be, we trade goods. Like, oh, here's your sheep, and I'll take your fucking cow, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever. Here's some wool, and I'll take some wheat.
Right. Right.
But now it's just this fucking number that we have that just kind of becomes everything to everybody. That's why everybody's so fucking. Everybody's so fucking jacked up is because it's just a big ass who's got the bigger number,
Yeah. Who's making them Screeklands, man.
Yep.
So, but no, I've just kind of noticed that people seem to be a little too comfortable asking people for money and shit like that. It's like, oh, okay, man, that's hell no, got to chill with that. So
we'll see how that goes, but just obviously also, friendship also, sometimes people are in hard times and sometimes maybe they need to reach out. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if you aren't able to do it at that time, it doesn't mean anything against you. That's the problem, is that when guilt becomes involved, and now it's like, oh well, you should have done this for me. It's like, well,
and then
you're asking me for a favor, and is it a favor or is it something that you think I owe you?
Yeah, is it expected? Like, if I don't give this to you, then it's going to be a problem. I just kind of noticed, just from there, and they had something else go on, and I texted them about that, and their answer was kind of short to me. So I was like, okay, I hope you're not, So we'll see. I'll give them a day or two to cool off and see what goes on, and and I actually was gonna Friday night. They were gonna do something with me, and I would actually offer to pay for dinner or something, you know what I'm saying? Especially because I get paid that day, so why not? So
yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. But it's just the way the world is crazy like that, obligation and all that shit, and people are just nuts, and so
yeah, I guess so. Well, fuck, man. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, man. I went through my heavy shit, so yeah, this is a crazy heavy birthday, and it says it's the weirdest birthday I've ever had, man, in 40 something years, man.
Yeah, for your 47th birthday. Well, maybe it means something too, man. Sometimes certain numbers mean certain things to certain people. You know what you might want to do? I don't know if you're a whole into the numerology and all that stuff, but you might even want to think back, man. Like, what is the number 47? Like, how else is it significant?
Well, 4 plus 7 is 11, and 11 is my life number. So
really,
yeah. So if you look at the life number, so it's interesting. Yeah, I've looked at that for years, but I kind of, as for fun, I go into that. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just I feel like this is a changing date, like a changing time for everybody in my family and myself. So,
well, here's a crazy one. This was the one for me. 714 kept popping up a lot, and I was like, what is 7? What what's the deal with that? And it seemed like it kept being a reoccurring deal. So finally I asked my mom. I said, well, was I born at 7:14 in the morning? What the hell was going on? Well, apparently I found out that in 1976 on July 14th, my parents actually got married. And then in 1986, 10 years later, on July 14th, they got divorced.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that would explain the significance of that pattern of numbers. So yeah, man, it's just, you never know. It's like, I wonder what this means. So maybe when you say 11 being your life number, maybe that's a good thing,
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing if everything goes well tonight. But I got to be positive because that's another thing people talk. Oh, positive outlooks because you never know, negativity can lead to negative results. But
I don't know about that, man, because sometimes you got to think negative because
you got to prepare for the worst, expect the worst, prepare for hope for
the
best.
When it's good, then you're like, then you really feel good.
Yeah,
But if you we're just going, oh, I'm being positive, then something else slams you in the balls, and you're like, well, fuck, what was the point of all that positivity?
It's going to be a tough road for some people, and it's been a tough road the last couple of weeks, so I'm just hoping to get some relief, because I got some stuff coming up that I'm excited about with improv and other things. So and we'll see what happens. But we'll go from there, guys. Enjoy your May, enjoy your time. We'll be back soon with some other stuff coming up, of course, this month. And I guess we'll end it here. This is the Nothing Sacred show for the 10th of May, 2023. I am Cruise Control.
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
And that's the story there, bitches.
See ya.
We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With Cruise Control. We are nothing sacred.